In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make my laundry soap, how I clean the oven. We're going to make some caramel apple bam cake together, wash bedding, talk about radium and the sad American diet, and everything in between. Hope you enjoy. Good morning, friends. Well, this day turned out to be quite the day. I started out making sourdough for a couple's Bible study we were going to that night, and well, you'll see what happened to that. I won't show you the whole sourdough portion because I have other sourdough videos if you're interested in seeing how I do that. Anyways, on with the video, and I'll explain more shortly. The first things I did this morning after getting the bread going was to spend some time journaling and reading my Bible. I actually let the kids go outside, and so you'll see me here in a few minutes deciding to head out there and sit out there with them in the sun as well. I was telling my husband I think one thing I would really miss if we ever move from the area is all the sunshine. We get sunshine almost every single day of the year. Almost. Whenever we have a cloudy day, it's kind of like, whoa, what are we supposed to do now? Once that was done, though, I went into our bedroom and decided to wash all the sheets from our bed. Time to strip it and get it all cleaned up. I'm curious, how often do you guys wash your sheets? Some people, I guess, wash them on a weekly basis, but sometimes I wonder if that's just the people that tell you about it and everyone else doesn't tell you, but they don't actually wash it that often, you know? So I'm just curious, maybe I should do a poll or something. Anyways, then it was time to clean up breakfast. It's a good thing we don't have a very big house because I feel like I am always sweeping and stuff these days, and I can't imagine if the house was bigger. Let's just say it probably wouldn't look the best most of the time. Not that that's the whole point of everything, but just more I'm guessing it would be harder to stay on top of with the little kids and stuff. So I'm not going to complain about the size when it comes to cleaning. It's definitely fairly manageable right now. For today's video, it's kind of supposed to be like a get it all done kind of a video. Now, everybody's version of get it all done is, I know, going to be different, but for me, this is what it looks like. These are the things that I need to do today, and I thought, why not share them with you? I'm washing bedding, making bread like I mentioned earlier, making a dessert. I need to wipe down the counters. It's been a while since I gave them a good wipe down. And let's see. I forgot what else I was gonna do. My little girl's in bed, so it's like now's the time if I want to. There's certain things I want to do that are a little harder to do when she's up. Now's my chance to do it real quick before she wakes up. So let's go outside actually. Ready to hang up some laundry? Let's go hang up our bed sheets. Ooh, you want to throw it away? Let's go hang up the bed sheets. As always, I like to hang out my clothes on the line as often as I can, especially on days where it's just really nice and warm outside. What's it like where you guys are at? I was surprised to see in some places in Minnesota and stuff, it's still fairly cold. So I'm definitely glad to be living over here. The clothes dry fairly fast, which is really nice. But I like to get everything out as first thing in the morning as much as I can. Like usually after I clean up the kitchen and stuff, then I'll go and hang stuff out. And it also kind of depends if I'm washing the kids' bedding and stuff, then I like to get that done before lunch. So that way it's all dried and ready to be put back on their beds in time for their afternoon nap. Of course, it seems like the stove always needs a good wipe down. I guess we live here and use the stove. Okay, I just ran out of my laundry soap. This looks kind of grimy. I need to come up with a better scoop for when I'm putting it in. Anyways, so let's make together real quick some more laundry soap. You're supposed to boil the water. I'm just going to boil like 2 cups because the whole idea is you want to dissolve the salt and stuff. So I'm just going to do a smaller amount, that way I'll get to temperature faster, and then I can add the rest of the water to the jar once I'm ready for that. I really like this recipe for laundry soap. It's one I've done at least twice now, so that tells you it's one I think I'm going to keep using. But it's kind of bummed to use up my Kirkland, that pink salt. We'll have to find another source for it because we haven't been to Costco in a while and we didn't actually keep up our Costco card. But we've got a little bit left. I used up the main container. Anyways, my hack for making this is, like I said, just to boil a small portion of the water because I didn't want to take the time to get all of the water to come up to temperature, and then dissolve, just put in the baking soda and salt and get it to dissolve, and then pour that into my main glass jar. I cleaned off the outside, but I thought, hey, I'm refilling the inside, let's just go ahead and add it back in, being realistic here with how I really do stuff. And then you add your Castile soap, which I got that on Amazon. That seemed to be the best price. If you guys know of a better price, let me know. And then I added some essential oil for some nice smells, and then water to top it off. And it's as simple as that. I want to say it lasts me about a month or so. Just depends on how many loads of laundry I do. But that's doing about 4 loads a week or so, I think, something like that. I really need to come up with a better idea for getting out the amount that I need each time, because I kind of just take it and shake the jar just to mix everything up, and then I'll just dump some in the washer. But I feel like I use more than I need to probably, and so I need to come up with a better idea for that. But anyways, I thought about getting like a drink dispenser where you have the little tab you open and shut to pour drinks. You know what I'm talking about? I can't think of what it's called right now. Anyhow, after that, I had used up my general cleaner. So I just made a batch using the Castile soap. I hadn't done that before, but I was very happy to see how it turned out. It smells really nice, has a very faint smell, and it works really good. So I was really happy with that. It just used like a tablespoon or something for that amount of water. So it didn't use much at all to concentrate. Oh, you guys, the dreaded oven. How many of you clean your oven like on a regular basis, or do you guys just not even think about it? I know I cleaned this, oh, not that long ago, but look at it already. It looks terrible. I like to keep foil on the bottom to collect drips and stuff when things fall down, or it makes it really easy if you have a massive, I don't know, if a pan, food just goes everywhere and then burns, then you can just take the foil out and you don't have to keep that in the bottom of your oven, you know, just to keep that smell every time you heat the oven up. But I like using Barkeeper's Friend. It works really well on getting the stains or the stuff that's been cooked on off of the surface. It is hard though to do really hard on the sides of the oven just because of the angle. Let me tell you, it gives for a good workout, that's for sure. At one point I just started putting the Barkeeper's Friend powder on a bowl with a bit of water, and then I would just dip into that, so that way I was getting kind of a paste. It was runnier maybe than I wanted, but it seemed to help it come off a little better. I'm actually wondering if I let it sit, if that might make it come off even better or easier. I don't know. We'll have to try that next time. Hopefully it's a while before I have to try it again. I can hear my little girl stirring, so I'm just going to finish this side really fast, and then we're going to call it good. And if you guys have any suggestions for how to be more efficient or how to get more out of your oven, how to get it cleaner, let me know. I just did a general cleaning and then was like, I'm gonna come back later. I think in some ways that tends to be how I do stuff. If something is extra challenging, I'll work at it for a bit, tackle it, and then do as much as I can, and then I'll come back later once I've got a renewed sense of energy and stamina. Apple cake. It's basically just a good carb cake, and one you would use probably as snacks or that kind of thing. So I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it as snacks because often I eat an afternoon snack and I'm like, what should I get? So I've got applesauce I need to use up, so this will be perfect. I'm curious for those of you guys who watch the videos on our channel, how many of you would you say you find it interesting to see this kind of footage, just how I like to eat and stuff? Or is it something that you also do yourself where you try to do your best to make choices, I guess you could almost say abnormal choices? Like society, I feel like, is so, I don't know, everyone's just so into what does SAD stand for? The something American diet. I can't remember what S stands for, but anyways, it just seems like that is such a common thing that when you go to eat healthy, it's like weird, which it shouldn't be because that's the normal food. I saw a thing on Facebook or something talking about how it's so normal to eat food that's been so modified and so messed with, and you're a weirdo if you eat the natural stuff, the stuff that's more in its natural form, you know? It's just so weird how things are, but I feel like there's kind of a bit of a shift, and things are starting to turn to being more natural. People are starting to realize some of the dangers and stuff. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Just the other night, my husband and I, we were watching a video by Veritasium on YouTube, and we've kind of gotten into like a kick of watching his. I guess my husband likes it more than I do. Sometimes it's like I don't really want my brain to be stimulated like that. I don't want to think through riddles and math problems and probabilities and ratios and whatever. But it's interesting just to hear how he explains stuff. And he was talking one time about there was some testing, a nuclear testing that was done in, I want to say it was New Mexico. But anyways, talking about some of the, oh no, I'm forgetting what it's called, the radium. I think that's what it was that got in the air, and then do they call it something, the fallout, radium fallout, nuclear fallout? Anyways, just how they were discovering, especially now or since then, the cancer and stuff that developed as a result of that in people. And sometimes it makes me wonder if stuff that we do nowadays, if we're not going to know the effect that it has for another 20, 30, 40 years, and then that's when they're going to pin down and be like, actually, this is a result of this medication or this thing that was in people's foods or stuff like that. I don't know. I guess it just makes me want to be careful, to be aware of what I'm eating. And yeah, that was a little bit of a long rant on that. But anyways, it's just something to think about. When I was making our bed, my husband had come home, so we were talking about what he had been doing and stuff. I don't remember what was going on, but that's why it looks like I'm having a conversation with myself. So yes, this is the frosting for the caramel apple bam cake. I don't know why I just said caramel. It was super easy to mix up. And you guys, this was really delicious. It was kind of cute. My son figured out what it was in, and so for the next couple days after I made this, whenever he was hungry, he'd go to the kitchen and start pointing to the counter like, please, please, please. It was so cute. Oh, it's hard to say no. He knows how to say please now. And before, when he would just kind of grunt or like point at stuff, it sounded like he was complaining or just being whiny. So it wasn't very cute. But now that he's saying please whenever he wants something, it's so hard to ever want to say no. Like sometimes, yeah, you can have cake for snack. Sometimes you can have cake for snack, and other times it's not the right time. Like maybe it's just before supper. It's like, no, we're not gonna have cake right now. But when he's saying please, it's just, it's the cutest thing. I should have blitzed the glaze a little bit longer because you can see it's kind of lumpy from the cream cheese. But anyways, it was just for us, so we didn't mind it looking a little lumpy. Next, I made some berry squares, which I took to our Bible study that we go to, and they seemed to be a really good hit. Thankfully, there were a couple pieces left, which I was happy about because I kind of wanted to have some leftovers. I guess if I ever want leftovers, I just need to leave some at home. But it's really, really good. It has a really nice base with like almond flour, coconut flour. I can't remember everything that's in it. You'll have to go to the Trim Healthy cookbook for that. But it was very, very, very tasty. I actually kind of had a bit of an advantage because I already had the jelly filling already made up. You just use some sugar-free jam. They have a recipe for that. And I had some in the fridge that I hadn't used in quite a while and was like, at some point this has got to go bad. So I just threw it on the stove because I needed to soften it and get it more on the runny side so it'd be easier to spread. So I just let it warm up on there, and then once the crust was done, bake it in the oven. Then you just pour it over top. Add your crunchy topping. That was so good. Just add your crunchy topping, which is delicious. Throw it in the oven, let it toast up, add a little bit of butter, and it was very, very tasty. Thanks to a friend of mine, I was able to chop up the nuts fairly quickly. I used to just use a knife, but then a friend was getting rid of this and asked me if I wanted it, and I was like, sure, I'll try it. I don't like a ton of gadgets, but it's actually been one of those that I've used a whole bunch. Especially when I make those payoff day candies. Yeah, it saves time chopping up nuts, which is pretty nice. been about 6 hours, and the honey oat bread has been rising for that long. We only need to do like a 7-hour ferment, so I am going to go ahead and put these in the pans, the loaves, and let them rise until they're as high as we want, and then we can put them in the oven. Go ahead and show you. This is what the squares look like. I'll try to get a clip when I cut them up and put them on a plate so you can see. They look really good. And then the apple bam cake, oh my word. I was hungry yesterday, so I had 2 pieces. Oh, it was so good. So it makes 5 loaves, but this is the equivalent of 2 loaves. And these are the equivalent of like 1.5 or something. So between all of these, it adds up to 5 loaves. Oh, it's soft, so soft. Okay. Usually I put 2 loaves in the big pan, but I'm going to try just doing one long one and seeing how it turns out, see what we think of it. This is 100%, well not 100%, it's whole wheat with a little bit of einkorn, but for the most part it's totally on, or it's totally on time with THM, which is awesome. It was kind of sad because actually our house was, I guess, too cold to get the bread to rise in time. So when I went to bake it later that day, it had not risen near enough. So I ended up throwing it in the fridge, and then next thing in the morning, it had risen nice and high. So yeah, I couldn't bake it that day. Okay, now I'm gonna put these in a warm place and let them rise for about another hour or so. Now the reason that I cover it is because we live in the desert and I don't want the top to dry out. Because if the top dries out, then it's not going to be able to rise. It's going to kind of get stuck. And I want it to be able to get nice. I want the moisture to stay there all around it and to be able to let it expand as it ferments a bit more. So I'm going to go put this in the back room because our house is quite cool today. And it's warmer back there. Thank you once again for hanging out with me. Any comments or feedback, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I look forward to reading them. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you guys later.